an opportunity because I know she's in and out of production. So Adriana, just introduce yourself. Adriana has been a key influential community leader that has helped all the government entities come together and disseminate this information to our community. And we're glad that she's here with us. We're happy to have her. Sometimes I don't know how she does it, but she's in a lot of places. It seems like she's duplicating herself because she's in many places at one time.
Like
So,
right now,
Adriana.
with you, and on the other, there's a video going on. So it's like, if you see me in and out, that's what it is. But, well, thank you. My name is Adriana Gonzalez. For those that don't know me, I'm the president and CEO of Latina Entrepreneurs of Houston. It's a nonprofit organization where we inform, educate, and support the Latin entrepreneur based on seminars, workshops, networking, anything that can be useful for them to take the business to a next level.
Fantastic. And if you're not connected with the chamber, I highly recommend you to connect with the chamber. They have a lot of training in English and Spanish. It's incredible what the chamber does. I mean, I've been connected with the chamber for now almost 15 years. Wow. 15 years.
Almost 15 years, yeah.
When I was 15 years old.
Both of us were.
There you go. So this is Adriana, this is what we want to do. There was a little confusion, but thank God we resolved it. Everything is great. We're moving on with the program. I want to share a little bit about what the purpose of this summit is. And the beauty of the technology is that we could record this information, and we are currently recording this information. And what we're going to do is we're going to disseminate this through all our networks, La Cámara Empresarios, through all the networks, Freddie George's networks, N-Crowd, all the networks, Harris County, the city of Houston. Dr. Portia is going to be joining us in a little bit. But the main purpose of Women in Construction, the reason we put together, and to give everyone a brief history, it all happened when one night Jose Medrano and I were just having dinner together, and we said, you know what, we have to find ways to put this information out there, because Harris County needs qualified vendors, Metro needs qualified vendors, Port of Houston, City of Houston, all these entities need qualified. And of course, we're going to talk a little bit about what that qualification is. What do we mean when we say qualified vendors? Because there's a lot of people that are qualified, but we also need them to be able to be certified, if you will, to do business with the government. So the whole idea was that over that dinner that we were having, we said we have to put something together, and that's how Women in Construction comes to be as a summit, just to put that information out there. And then this was in light of Harris County adopting their MWBE program, that we will also be talking about that as well in a little bit. And then of course the Port of Houston adopting a similar program with Harris County. And that's the main purpose here. We want to talk a little bit about, we want LiftFund is going to be connected in a little bit or later on. We want to talk about what the state of construction is. What's the state of construction here locally in the Houston area? What's happening? What's going to happen in the next 5 to 7 years, or what's going to happen in the next 5 to 10, 15 years here locally in the Houston area, and what's going to happen with construction projects. The other thing is that we wanted to focus on women. Why women? Because we all know that construction is a dominated, it's a male-dominated industry. I mean, it is what it is. Somebody told me it is what it is. It is what it is, but you know what? We also want to make sure that women get an opportunity to participate as well. And of course, minority in general. When I say minority, it includes a lot of other groups aside from just us, the Latinos. There's African-American, there's other groups, there's a whole diverse of groups that now that the government is including. Even City of Houston has a program that I didn't even know about, and hopefully they should be here soon to talk about that. So that's the main purpose, is for us to disseminate that information, talk about the industry itself, see what we could do as leaders of the community, see how we could put that information out there. You know, there's a handful of us, almost a dozen here, but sometimes we underestimate the power of the connections. You know, just Freddie alone, after he gets out of Facebook jail, he has an extended network of over 35,000. I would always say 30,000, but now they correct me and they say 35,000. Just Freddie alone has an access network of 30,000. And, you know, we each know at least 100 people. So you could see the power of those connections. So having said all that, just want to share with you the purpose of what this is. This is not this is not an extensive, training program that is going to be ongoing. No, this is more to provide that information. The Chamber Cámara de Empresarios Latinos has done a fabulous, a phenomenal job with that in conjunction with Jorge Mora and his association. Together, they put together a 10-week program, and they had over, my understanding is 700 to 800 people. So let me give Adriana an opportunity for her to talk a little bit about that program, because I know Adriana is continuously doing more and more for the women in construction. Adriana.
So this is something that we put with Jorge Mora with Magna Group. It was a 10 weeks course, one every other Saturday for 3 hours, and it called Mujeres en Construcción, or Women in Construction. We did it in Spanish. Every Saturday that we have the course, it was a different subject. Like we have siding, we have flooring, we have the roofing. So different subjects in the construction market, but also these women had the part of the administrative part also. So it wasn't just the what materials, how you do it. It's also how to have a business and to flourish in that business. So that was the course. And the other part was like what we're going to talk about with LiftFund is the part of the Ascend Houston. Ascend Houston is not only for women, it's for women and men, but due to this great job that Jorge with Magna Group did together with the Chamber, we decided with LiftFund that maybe we can do an Ascend Houston just for women, and that's what we're working right now.
Fantastic.
So it's very interesting how women, like I said, we were like 700-800 people sometimes on Facebook Live. So we're hoping that this Ascend Houston is free. It has to go through a series of interviews. It has certainly requirements, but the main thing is that it's out there. It's for women. It's out there. It's for us to educate ourselves. That's the market that we want it to be.
Fantastic. Thank you, Adriana, for sharing that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to continue, and Adriana, we're going to change the dynamic a little bit. And what we want to do is we want to go ahead and have the different entities introduce to us the programs that they have. I know that Jose Medrano has a great program. You've done this presentation to several chambers. Pasadena, I think you were also in Pasadena. Great presentation. So what we want to do is we want to give Precinct 2, Jose Medrano, the opportunity to provide us with that information, share that information with the opportunities, with the programs they have. I mean, it's incredible, Jose. I have to say that last email that I saw from you and from the precinct, the way that you guys are organized, it's amazing. I mean, you have an email that has pretty much like a cookie cutter ingredient. I mean, you just follow that email, that one page that Jose Medrano is going to send you. And if you're not doing business with Precinct 2, I don't know what else we could give you. So Jose, will you be able to share that? And then later we'll have Pedro follow you with his program and with his presentation. So why don't we do that? And what I could do is I could give you an opportunity so you could share your slides.
Sure. Okay. Well, first of all, I'm Jose Medrano. I'm the Director of Budget, Purchasing, and IT for Harris County Precinct 2 for Commissioner Adrian Garcia. My background has been in insurance and financial investments, but I've done a lot of work with helping companies, do business with the county or the city and so forth. And I've taken on the role there at the commissioner's office because he wants to make sure that, we're able to participate in what's available. Everybody does good work. We just, first of all, need to know where to find it. So I'm going to share my screen with you. I put together a kind of a 1.5 page document that took me about 2.5 years of, knocking my head against the wall, trying to figure stuff out. And I wish somebody would have done this for me a long time ago. It has hyperlinks, so it'll give you a quick idea. First of all, let me share my screen here with you guys. Okay, so you got your screen here. First thing that I want you guys to do is say how to do business with Harris County. All right, and here it is. This is the main screen that you guys are going to look at. It'll tell you everything to do. This is this screen, obviously, how to bid on a project and how to check on contract statuses. You can purchase from auctions and so forth. What we want to look at more than anything else is bid on a project. The first and most important thing that you need to do is register on Bonfire. Every government entity has its own system, internal database. So Bonfire is used by other entities. So if you register, let's just say hypothetically speaking, with the city of Pasadena, because they have Bonfire, I think they do. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're registered with Harris County. So if you register with us and you add your codes, your business codes, you will get an email whenever there's an opportunity that comes up. Again, if you register with the city of Pasadena, you're not going to get ours. We used to have another system, and that's been retired, and now we moved completely on Bonfire. So anything that was in the old system, that database is gone. You must register on Bonfire so that you can get any future notices. All right, so we're not going to actually get into that too detailed because it's we're going to be short on time, but this is what it looks like once you do have it. You log in, you'll see that it has the opportunities about what's available, when they're due. This is due August the 30th for heavy duty trucks and accessories. And I want you guys to know that Harris County is a $3.3 billion business. So we obviously buy everything. And when I say from pins to airplanes, you'll see an airplane that's being sold and so forth. I'm going to admit that person. Okay, so you can also visit with us personally in the office. There's a website. It's Commissioner Garcia's website for Precinct 2. You click on opportunity and you click on vendors and it brings you to this site. And we have this meet the buyer link. So you can watch some videos about what it's all about. And then you can actually schedule a 30-minute visit with us. You can visit with me and my purchasing team, and we'll walk you through the process of getting registered as a vendor and so forth. And so I really encourage everyone to do that. If you're wanting to learn how to do business with Harris County, we're more than happy to help. We want to make sure that we get great qualified vendors that can do the work, and you deserve to be on that list, okay? So what I am happy to share with you guys is this one pager, well, it's at 1.5 pages, of how to do business with Harris County. So these are hyperlinked already as they are, as it is. So you see how it says how to do business with Harris County? That's going to take you to that website that we were looking at earlier. How to get set up as a supplier ID with, be a vendor with us. Send an email here, and this is what we're going to require. A little bit of overview, and anything from $1 to $50,000. We have 3 internal bids that we in our departments need to go after and get. So if you do construction, and let's just say hypothetically speaking that you do the best curbs in the country, I don't know to call you because I don't know who you are. So you need to consider me as one of your customers that you're going to market to. So just put me on the list, put our department and construction on the list, and that director. Reach out to them once every 3 or 4 months, just like you would with any other customer. And then they're going to remember who you are. You're going to be on top of their head. And then the next time they need something that's under $50,000, they're going to end up calling you, because just like the other customers that you have, they won't call you if they're not on the top of your head, of their head. You just remember them. Anything over $50,000 must go to a formal bid, then goes to Commissioner's Court. That's where I showed you the Bonfire stuff. Okay. This will walk you through how to bid on a project. There's that link for Bonfire. You can click on the open bids to see, things that are available. This is to register. This is what's actually available now. if you're a professional service contract, here's a link for you to click on so that you can learn more about them. This will, once you've already checked to see what's available, you want to check the contract status to make sure that you're, on par with like the other people. So it'll show you the bid tabulations of vendors. Let me show you this real quick. And this will tell you what people actually submit. So these are all, bid tabulations. They submitted it. And so you can actually see what what the contractors put in, $10 million, and this is a big project, and $12 million. So Harris County is typically a lowest bid. So if you bid $9,500,000, you would have gotten this this RFP. And if you can be vetted to make sure that you are capable of doing the work. So if you bid $7 million and you just started last week, we're going to look at it and we're going to say, you don't have the experience, and then we're going to have to justify why. And there's a lot more protocols. So this is typically the way it works with us. Okay. So that's why I said you have to go back and do your homework and look at past RFPs that exist that are along the lines of the type that you want to do, so you can compare yourself and see if you're in the right vicinity in your amounts. This is more examples of the award letters. It kind of gives you more examples. You guys can click on that later on. I'm happy to send this to you guys. I'm going to send it to Pablo. He'll send it to you. You can always call me, and I'm happy to do so. There's a purchasing department, and so I don't do all the. I personally don't do them all. You got to think $3.3 billion. We have a big purchasing department. And so what you want to do is, if you want to call the purchasing department person that is in charge of your, of the type of work that you do. So if you're, Melissa McCord, she does construction. You're not going to call Sue Arredondo because she does technology, right? So you want to call the person that does the type of work that you do. You can email them about projects that are coming up or that have happened in the past, and you want to find out, what was the dollar amount. You get questions because you're doing your research. You cannot call them or email them or anybody in Harris County that has anything to do with an RFP if the bid is currently open. It's against the law. It's called the blackout period. But they are very helpful. They want to make sure that you guys are successful, but you can always call them about things that are going to happen in the future or things that happened in the past. And when I say in the future, in the past, it's because you want to know how to fill these RFPs out correctly. They're more than happy to answer some questions. The one thing I do ask you guys to do is to not call Dwight or Thomas Petty, or, these are the main people, and they're busy enough as it is. As you can see, there's a ton of buyers underneath that they have to manage. So, these are the people that you actually want to call. Okay. All right. And then, Harris County is going into a new phase of an MBE type of program. Ours is called the Department of Economic Equity and Opportunity. Here's the information. There's a LinkedIn page. Feel free to give them a call. We will be accepting WMBE certifications and Hub. Those are the only two that we're going to accept. So please, if you are not registered as a WMBE, you could click on the City of Houston link, and that'll take you straight there where you can actually, file your application and they could process it. Or you can call, or you can go to the comptroller's office and do your Hub. I would suggest that you go ahead and do your Hub first. Do them both at the same time. But I want you to know that the City of Houston, they get a lot of applications. It takes a while, and you're more than likely going to get your Hub first. So do your Hub first. You'll probably get it in less than a month, because they've now gone into an online system as well. And so it used to be paper, and now it'll be processed a lot faster. The last thing is, look at our Facebook page. You'll find opportunities that we post, and here's the link itself. And we'll just put some things up there that are less than $50,000 that we need to get bid on, and you never know. Sometimes you'll find something that you can work on, and that's pretty much it. So I'm trying to keep it short and sweet. Like I said, I'm happy to share this with anybody, and so just give me a call or an email, or reach out to Pablo, and we'll share it. Just Google me and go to the Harris County Precinct 2 business section, and you'll find where to go. All right. Awesome. That's about it.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jose. Would you be able to put your email in the chat?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let me stop sharing
Yeah,
real
Jose
quick.
Medrano
And
is
then,
gonna, yeah, Jose Medrano is gonna be putting his email in the chat, and then you could send him an email and he could provide you with that information. Before we continue, I just want to acknowledge the fact that we have Michi Abrams Clay with LiftFund, and then also Tandaline from LiftFund. What we're going to do is we're going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. Right now, Michi, we're just going over some of the programs that each government entity has, and then in the second phase, we're going to have a great discussion with Tanali and Michi, a conversation we're going to continue that we had offline with a lot of great information for contractors, for women, for minorities, and a lot of the great stuff that we spoke about. So let's give you an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your organization. So who's going to start?
Mishi, I'll let Mishi start.
Okay, awesome. Go right ahead.
She's a big boss.
So thank you, Pablo, for having us both. My name is Mishi Bruns Clay, and I'm the Regional Vice President for LiftFund for the East Texas region. LiftFund is a community development financial institution. So we provide responsible capital, technical assistance, resources, programs for small businesses. So we loan small businesses, anywhere from $500 up to $500,000. So again, we provide responsible capital for small businesses. If you dream it, we can fund it.
Fantastic. I like that. If you dream it, we can fund it. I like that. So now you know where the money's at if you're looking for funding. Thank you, Michi. Thank you for accepting our invitation. And in the second phase, we're gonna have a discussion with yourself, with LiftFund, and we'll have some questions that we wanna touch upon. So Tanali, please introduce yourself.
Great, thank you, Pablo. So my name is unusual. It is Tondalin. It's pronounced Tondalin Atkinson Weaver. And I too have the pleasure to work for LiftFund, but I even have more exciting responsibilities, and that is to manage the Ascend Houston program for minority and small women business construction contractors. So we have an 18-week program, the first half of which is the business of running your business, and the second half of which focuses on things you need to know about construction. So that might include blueprint reading, how to respond to an RFP, how do you negotiate. So we are excited about being able to help small construction contractors build capacity to do all of that work that's here in Houston.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And as I mentioned before, we're in the process of recording this seminar, this Zoom meeting, because what we want to do is we want to put this information together and then edit it, if you will, and put it out there for our network, for each of us that are collaborating here collectively. I think we have close to about 100. I could say, maybe I was going to say 100,000, maybe 50 to 55,000 people in our network collectively here locally in Houston. So this is a way that I think we were talking with Michi one time that we should have a session that in this magnitude and record it. And look, it's happening. I guess the power of the spoken word, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to continue. Next, we have Pedro Gonzalez. Pedro Gonzalez is with Port Houston. We want to give him an opportunity for him to share all the great things that Port Houston has to offer. And he has a presentation he wants to share with us. Pedro, go right ahead, share your information. I'm going to make you a co-host so you could share your screen. And again, just go right ahead and share as much information as you can. Just keep in mind that this is going to be disseminated to a lot of our networks.
All right. Hopefully, I'm not an IT expert like Jose. Jose, you did a great job for Precinct 2. Can y'all see this screen? Hello?
No, not yet. I can't see it. Can anyone see it?
No.
Uh-oh.
hit,
Uh-oh.
hit the screen and then hit the share button. Don't
Yeah.
forget that part.
Okay, let me
Go at
go
the bottom,
back.
go at the bottom and then just click share. Don't worry, Pedro. I'm not IT savvy. It took me a long time. to
Okay,
learn
let
Zoom.
me, here's share screen. Here we go. Let me try that. And let me click on the presentation. How about that?
Yes, there we go.
Y'all see? All right, I got 2 thumbs up there. All right, perfect. So let me, it's a long presentation. I didn't know how many, usually Metro always says that when they give me the microphone, they have to pull it back from me. So I'm not sure how many slides I was entitled to present, but I'm gonna go through them real quick. I know we've got a great audience. I'm excited about Harris County and LiftFund. Also, the city of Houston is going to be doing a presentation. So I'm going to go through mine real quick because a lot of it is going to be repeat with, of course, Harris County and the city of Houston. So this is we've actually started a new division there at the port, another layer of bureaucracy, but this one's a good layer. This one is called the Business Equity Division, and we've got a new chief. Maxine Beckles is our new chief. The new program, which runs parallel to our small business program, was approved by our port commissioners on April the 27th. So we'll have a small business program that we've had since 2002, and then we'll run a parallel program, which is minority and women business enterprise. So I'm really excited about that. So we'll go through it pretty quick. And if you all have any questions, definitely stop me. And here we go. Okay, so the agenda for this evening is, we have to give credit to our commissioners because they do the big approvals on formal procurements over 50,000. We'll talk about the new business equity program and just a quick enrollment process, training and outreach, and then overview of our upcoming construction projects, which is super neat. So our commissioners, we've got 6 commissioners. Actually, there's 7 commissioners, but we've got one that's the chairman, and that's Rick Campo. Okay. And then on business equity, we the port commissioners took the first step to expand opportunities. So we've got a target. Our small business program is at 35%. We actually have exceeded that in the 19 years of our small business program. We're at 37, which is great. Some years we may go a little bit below 35, other years we'll go way above 35. But for 19 years, our average is 37. And then on our minority and women business enterprise, our aspirational goal is 30%, which is still pretty high. So we're looking at a couple of target areas, unbundling, taking those big contracts and making smaller ones. I know minority women contractors, even small business contractors, they may not have a high bonding capacity on the performance bond, the bid bond, and the payment bond. So we're looking at unbundling the contracts, looking at the good faith efforts that prime contractors really put into getting SMWBEs. Let me just use that because that way I don't save me a couple of saliva. So SMWBE stands for Small Minority Women Business Enterprise. Okay, SMWBE. So we're going to try to strengthen our outreach and forecasting. And then, of course, our program is always race and gender neutral. Okay, so our program applies, as it is right now, applies to contracts over 50,000, and those are called formal solicitations. Very similar to what Jose said. He said 1 to 49,999. They need 3 bids, and then over 50,000 is called formal solicitation, and that's where our port commissioners come in and they approve those based on the staff recommendation. So on the business equity program, we're race and gender, but we're actually a local program. So we've got Harris County and the 7 surrounding counties. So for a prime contractor to get credit on a small business goal or a minority women pass-fail requirement, those small business minority women have to be registered in our program for that prime contractor to use them and get credit. Okay, super important. So we don't certify there at the Port of Houston. I'm going to talk pretty fast because I've got lots of slides. So we don't certify, but we do take the City of Houston Metro, and don't give City of Houston a hard time. They've got thousands of applications that they have to process, and they are using other resources to help them process it. We do look at Metro a lot because Metro is pretty quick at processing them. Of course, they don't have the numbers that the city does, but we also accept HMSDC, Women's Business Enterprise Alliance. On the federal side, the Small Business Administration, the 8A program. South Texas Central Regional Certification Agency is new to the port. They've been around for maybe 2 years with the port, and they do small business, minority, and women. Okay. And then Jose mentioned hub certification. We do accept that. And then TxDOT has a small business program. Okay, so we accept those. Once you're certified, which is a big hurdle, definitely come to the port and register, because we do not accept vendors automatically from the city and Metro. You have to come to, just like Precinct 2, you have to come to the city and register. Okay. All right. So we've got some training and outreach activities. What we do with the city and Metro, Houston Community College, HISD, and Houston First. So we've got an interagency mentor protege program. We graduate maybe 20 to 25 a year, which is a small quantity, but we actually pair them up with a senior mentor, which is a large business. And they work with the protege for about a year. There's no guarantee that there's going to be contracting opportunities, but they do help them in areas that they may need help. We do have industry-specific workshops. Of course, they're all virtual. We've got one in September that's doing business with environmental affairs. Very informative. Doing business with IT services coming up in October. Of course, we do participate in Milton Thibodeau's Greater Houston Procurement Forum. We had one on Tuesday, and that was doing business with Port Houston. And then we had one today, Small Business Administration, Port Houston, Lending Forum, Access to Capital. That was this morning, and Pedro Garcia was in charge of that one. So if I say anything wrong, Pedro Garcia, just remember Pedro Garcia, okay? If I say anything wrong, okay? You don't need to remember Pedro Gonzalez. And then we've got one U.S. Department of Labor Construction Safety Workshop. That's Wednesday, September the 1st. And of course, we can do virtual one-on-one meetings with the port staff, okay? So here's a couple of opportunities for training. Port University, that's usually held twice a year. Last year, I think we may have just done one virtual training, but we do have Turner's Subcontractors Training Program. Hopefully we can kick it off this year. McCarthy does a tremendous amount of work there at the port. And they're an employee-owned company, and they're very receptive to be mentors to our port small businesses and now minority and women. And of course, Ascend Houston and LiftFund, we're going to be teaming up with them for training opportunities. Okay, so here we go. Upcoming design and construction projects. This is also on our website. Pretty graphics. This is actually at Bayport, one of our container terminals there. So here we go. Construction phase projects. This one is you can actually access these on our website. What I'd like to do is just maybe go through them real quick. This one is TBN is Turning Basin North. Replace dredge pipe sleeve upstream of Wharf 18. They're at the city docks. But what I like to do is, on the lower left, there's the procurement timeframe on when we're actually going to advertise it and award it, and then a construction timeframe. If you're really interested in this project, towards the center of the screen, you have your NIGP codes. If you put those in your vendor profile when you're registered with the port, 91223, 91339, and 91335 for this particular project, you'll get all the notifications for this project. You'll get the plans and specs, the bid package. If there's a site visit, which we're doing them virtual, and then also any addendums that may come out, you'll get those automatically if you have these in your vendor code. So SMWBE, that's a test question for after the presentation. Here's the SMWBE opportunities for this particular project: pipe rehabilitation, pipe installation, and survey. And then very important is PHA contact. So Rebecca Malish, she's the new employee there, is the project manager for this particular project. Here's her direct phone line and her email address. So I believe Jose mentioned that once the project is advertised, we roll into a new period called, we call it something else, Jose, we call it a no contact period, which means you really can't contact any employees at the port except through our procurement division. So, but before it's advertised, you can call the phone off the wall to Rebecca, or you can send her several email messages about this particular job. And it's all legal before the project is advertised, okay? This next one is actually a vertical construction project. We've got very few there at the port. I'm an engineer, I call stuff vertical, I call stuff horizontal, but this is the vertical construction, very few that we have at the port. And this is the construction of a new maintenance complex at Barber's Cut Terminal. So 128,000 square feet. It's also going to include, of course, a metal building, fuel and wash areas, and then all the utilities for a brand new maintenance and repair facility. The same thing here, your procurement timeframe, construction. This one has, since it's vertical construction, lots of NIGP codes. All you need is one of these in your profile and you'll get the full package when it comes out. But SMWBE opportunities, since it's vertical construction, you've got utility systems, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, the building fixture, and then photography, because we do have monthly construction progress photos. Jessica Shambra is our project manager. Definitely call the phone off the wall if you're interested in this project, or if you know somebody that's interested in vertical construction that either wants to be a prime contractor or a sub. Get them to contact Jessica, and that's also her email. So let me move along. There's a canopy at Bayport, addition and canopy enclosure. That's coming up in hopefully the third quarter this year. And then we'll award it the fourth quarter, closer to December timeframe, okay? And also NIGP codes, super important. I know there's some entities, public entities that may not use NIGP. They may use the NAICS codes, but there at the port, we use NIGP. Harvey Ross is a project manager there at the port for this project, okay? We've got security projects, lots of cameras. We don't have electric fences. I think I heard somebody that says they like to shock their employees or something like that with electric fences. We don't have electric fences, but we do have lots of cameras. We do have lots of chain link fence. This one is Container Yard 2 South. Derek Garrett is the project manager. And then, of course, this one has different, of course, NIGP codes. You do contractors that do security work for us there at the port, they do have to have a security license, and that license is issued by, believe it or not, the state troopers, Texas Department of Public Safety. Okay. Another security job, data cables, cameras, UPS, uninterrupted power supplies, and then different NIGP codes, and then of course your SMWBE opportunities, cameras, cabling, card readers, and then electrical. Craig Casper is the PM. Land development, we've got thousands of acres there at the port, and we don't sell any of it because it's all valuable real estate alongside the ship channel. But this one is land development for 30 acres, and it's South Port Road at the Bayport Terminal. So we've got trucking, stormwater erosion, and then surveying. That also is going to be advertised in the fourth quarter, and then we're going to turn around pretty quick and try to award it also in the fourth quarter. So Craig Casper is the PM on that one. Bayport and Barber's Cut pavement replacement. This is actually one of my favorite little jobs because it's a if you've never done work for the port, it's a good startup contract for small businesses and minority and women, of course. But it's a pavement replacement. We'll give you so many square feet that's badly decomposed, badly deteriorated concrete or asphalt. Most of it is concrete, and so we try to keep a small crew, one of your small crews, busy pretty much all the time. And there's only one code, 91327. But the opportunities, of course, is saw cutting, paving, excavation, And then we do have some concrete barriers. Barbara H. Smith is the PM on that one. So look out for that one. I think that one is coming out pretty soon. And it's a great starter contract for small businesses and women and men and minority. All right. Big job. This is Manchester. As you cross the 610 bridge and you look towards the east, this is Wharf at Manchester 2. Big project, a replacement of 600 feet of dock. Here's the NIGP codes and then the opportunities. Eddie Karazi is the PM on this one. Please contact them, phone numbers, emails. A lot of us are working remotely, but if you call our main phone number there at the port, like Eddie's is extension 2544, hopefully he has his transferred to his cell phone. I know I do, and I don't get to sleep very much at night, but that's okay. This one is a nice little job. It's been around for a while because we had some environmental issues. Well, let me not say environmental issues. We had some environmental opportunities, right, Jose? We don't want to say issues. We want to say opportunities, okay? So how you word things. All right. Actually, I am a pretty serious guy. So let me go through the NIGP codes, SMWBE opportunities. Of course, there's going to be electrical, plumbing, HVAC, and then the building fixtures and finishes. So Jessica Chamber is the PM on this one. And this one is coming out pretty soon, third quarter, which we're in. And then we're going to try to award it this year. Okay. We've got a transit sheds, which are big warehouses alongside the ship channel. We call them transit sheds. We don't call them bodegas, warehouses, because we don't like cargo being there very long. So we call them transit. So they come in and go out. So we call them transit sheds. But we've got a big roof replacement job. They're called transit sheds 3031. In fact, I just signed off on this project. 238,000 square feet of roof repair there at the turning basin, which is right underneath the ship channel bridge. And of course, you've got 3 NIGP codes, and Derek Garrett is the PM on that one. Okay. All right. We have a lot of rail. In fact, we have everything that Metro has, except the buses, but we do have the ships, right? So we do have a lot of rail and switch replacement. And then when you replace the rail that's worn out, of course, you can see in that picture there to the left, there's a lot of concrete that needs to be saw cut out and removed to replace the rail and the switches. And that's coming out fourth quarter. So all of these are just around the corner. And of course, you got the concrete rebar, the steel rebar repair, and the concrete forming. So actually, when you cut out a section, you almost have to match exactly what's there. You can't make it lower, you can't make it higher. You just saw cut and replace. Turning basin annual concrete replacement, very similar. This is for the turning basin. The previous one was for Barber's Cut and Bayport. So basically the same scope of work. Okay. Annual pavement drainage and dust control. That's at East Industrial Park. As you're going south on 610, right before you get to the bridge, that's our terminal to the east of 610. So we've got 90976 NIGP code 91223 and then 91327, and then Barbara H. Smith is the PM on that. Almost through. Even I'm getting bored myself looking at all of these pictures, but I'm a civil engineer, so I kind of like all of this stuff. This one is turning basin rehabilitation and repair of wharf number 8. A lot of you know these as the old city docks. So this is our main turning basin. If you're familiar with Brady's Landing, it's just upstream of Brady's Landing. In fact, right to the bottom of that red triangle, you'll see our public ship, the Sam Houston. And I'm sure a lot of you have been on the Sam Houston. So we're not doing the public tours right now because of COVID. So we're trying to take care of our employees and also take care of the public. Okay. We've got a fender system. A lot of ships come in and they forget they don't have brakes on the ships, right? You have to put in reverse or you have to slow down. So they come into our fenders, into our docks pretty hard, and they do damage to our fender system. So this is a yearly contract, the replacing the fender system there at our docks. And I think this may be the last one. This is Turning Basin Terminal. Old city docks. They've been around for almost 100 years. And so this is the repair of the wharfs. It's done from the water. It's kind of expensive because you do need a maritime insurance. So it's kind of limited on the vendors. But that is for repair of wharfs 21, 20, 21, 24, 25, and 26. Okay. Eddie is the PM on that one. A lot of projects. This is Turning Basin South. Okay, I can't read title because the screen's in the way. Anyway, okay, here we go. Repair project for Wharf 1 East, 47 and 48, and then that's at the Turning Basin Terminal South. Actually, the star here is our executive building, and then you've got Wharfs 1E and 47, 48 on the south side of our ship channel coming in. Okay. Hey, that was the second to the last slide. Here's our team. A lot of you may know Gilda Ramirez. She's our senior director, and she's been with the program since 2002. What you don't see on the picture on the equity division personnel slide here is our new chief, Maxine Beckles. She's our auditor there at the port that reported directly to our port commission, and she was selected as the chief for our new business equity division. A lot of you may have talked to Keela Hicks. She's our business equity manager. Consuelo Connie helps Gilda and all of us be straight. Pedro Garcia, remember him, because if I said anything wrong or I took too long, remember Pedro Garcia instead of Pedro Gonzalez. And of course, Brenda is our compliance analyst. She makes sure that the prime contractors get paid, and also the subcontractor suppliers and material suppliers get paid too. So she gives me a report every week or every 2 weeks when I go to the construction progress meetings. I'm the mentoring program manager. If there's an issue on payment, then I talk to the prime contractors and we get it resolved. Okay. I can't see the rest of the people. Oh, Tandalin, you're in the way. Your picture's in the way, but I think
Natasha.
Yes, Natasha Ainsworth. A lot of you probably know Natasha because she's our main point of contact for registering in our program, and then she'll send you a registration in our program, and then you can pass that on to your prime contractors and say, hey, there's an opportunity there at the port. I'm registered in the Port Small Business Program. Please give me an opportunity to bid on this job for you. And if there's a goal, they'll say, heck yes, we need more participation to meet our goal, especially if it's a pass-fail. They have to meet that requirement, and they have to use those small business minority women that are in our program. Oh, I heard a beep, so that must be my timeout.
No, that's someone coming in.
Okay, all right.
You're
I know Sharonda Murray always gives me a holler when I'm a little bit over, and she wants to take the microphone away. But my email address is pretty easy. It's P Gonzalez at porthouston.com. Okay. And Gilda Ramirez would be G Ramirez at Port Houston, Aquila A Hicks at porthouston.com. So it's the first initial of the first name, and then the last name at porthouston.com. Okay. So thank you, Pablo, for setting this up. I'm excited about our new program. It's going to run parallel to our small business. Sorry for not shaving. I didn't know the camera was going to be on, but the hair is not too bad. I did comb it just before the meeting. So I am really excited. I am we are all your small business advocates, minority and women. So if there's any issue, if there's an interest in a project, contact us, and we'll stay within the law to help you as much as we can. So thank you, Pablo.
Thank you, Pedro. Pedro, I have one quick question. This is a lot of great information. And again, we're going to put it out to the public. Would you be able to provide this presentation so we could share with some of the people that are in here? Is this public?
Perfect.
Yes,
it's all public information. What I'll do is I'll forward the PowerPoint presentation to you, and you can cut it up and send it out the way you need to.
Awesome. Great. That'd be great. So once you send it to me, I'll just put it in a PDF format and then share it with everyone here. all the attendees. And then, of course, we're also gonna, I think within 2 days, they said they were gonna format the presentation and share it to the rest of the
Okay.
networks, because this is a lot of great information. I mean, I'm a civil engineer myself. I'm one of the program managers with Metro, and I didn't know that Port had so many construction opportunities. I mean, I see Tandaling
Yes.
shaking her head, and I'm like, wow, I'm surprised, because I didn't know that many opportunities existed with the port. But I
Yeah.
really
And
appreciate that. That is a
and you just have to be careful, Pablo, and the rest of the Hispanic community, the women in construction community, your competitors who are already doing work there at the port, they'll say, oh, sorry, that's my little parakeets. Your competitors there that are doing work at the port, they're going to say the port is a terrible place to work. They hold your money, they over inspect, it takes forever. Well, you should ask them, why have they been there so many years? And then, so it's a little golden egg there. We try to pay pretty quick, not as quick as Metro. Metro pays quicker, but if there's any issues, we do get involved. So you do have an advocate there at the port. So definitely, if you're interested in any of those projects, definitely contact me, and we'll stay within the law and get you as much information as we can.
Really appreciate that. Thank you, Pedro Gonzalez. Don't get it confused, 'cause I
Garcia.
personally got it confused. I put Pedro Garcia P. But hey, we're humans, and I really appreciate that. If you could just stop sharing your screen, that'd be great. I know Dr. Portia was having some challenges getting on board, but you know what? Let's continue. This is a lot of great information. Now, before we go into our second phase, the second phase is going to be very, very, very interactive. We have LiftFund to participate. We're going to have Jose Medrano also. Pedro, don't go away, because we're going to come with some interesting questions, and then I'm also going to let Adriana ask some questions also, because there's a couple of questions that we have that we want to touch upon. So before we go into the next phase, what I want to do is, does anyone have any questions? Any questions? And don't worry about it. I mean, there is not. But what they always tell me, there's not a dumb question. The question you don't ask is the question you don't get answers to. So this is a great opportunity. If you need some additional information, if there's something that you need from these individuals, I mean, this is a phenomenal forum. Having these entities, government entities, here with us, providing us this information is phenomenal. I mean, sometimes it's challenging to get a hold of these great individuals and leaders in these entities, because they're so busy, but sometimes it helps to be connected, to go out there and network. Because I'll tell you a story before we go into the questions. Pedro Gonzalez, it's a small world. I got transferred into another division where we do a lot of construction management projects. And one of our key administrators is Ms. Rebecca. Ms. Rebecca happens to be Ms. Gilda Ramirez's sister. And one day we were talking about the port, and she's like, Gilda's my sister. I'm like, oh, wow. So it's a small world. You just never know. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on to questions. If anybody has any comments, any questions, Jorge Mora, if you have any comments, please, let's take this opportunity.
I want to say, Pablo, that we need to educate our people also, that they will not intimidated with this kind of projects. In my experience, I was a project manager for United Nations, and sometimes when you just talk about the name, people start intimidated, and they need to understand more about how run a company, how be ready for this, because a lot of them, they already have the skills. So the problem with our community is we, as a leader, we need to empower them to be sure that they understand the tools, because they are amazing contractors, but they need to be more organized. They need to understand the rules. They need to understand the procedures to be paid, etc. So it's very nice to know about these projects, but our responsibility is bring them safe, bring them with information, bring them with the tools. So that's why it's important, everything that we try to do, to teach them how to be better. because I'm pretty sure that we have thousands of contractors that can do all these jobs, but because they don't understand how, they feel that they cannot apply.
Absolutely. Okay, you bring an excellent point, and this is something that we've been talking with LiftFund, with city, with Harris County, and just talking about the city. And that's a great background, Dr. Portia. That's an awesome background. We now have City of Houston. So what I'm going to do is we're just going to go right into the City of Houston. So Dr. Portia, one of the things that we've been doing is just talking about the different entities. Jose Medrano from Harris County Precinct 2 just gave us a brief presentation about how to do business with Harris County. Great. I said one pager, but it's actually a 1.5 pager, but it's full of great information. Pedro Gonzalez with Port of Houston also gave us a tremendous information on the opportunities with the port. And it was interesting to discover how many opportunities are out there. And of course, Jorge Mora, a local community leader and also individual in the construction industry, was talking about the lack of information that we do, and I am a witness of that. We have great qualified people to do the job, but sometimes they lack the information to do the job with the government. As we all know, we have a lot of requirements. We have we have a lot of, I think Pedro mentions it, red tape, things that we have to overcome. We just have to share that information with all our small business, minority, women contractors, so they can learn and not be afraid to participate. So without further ado, what I want to do is I want to, first of all, thank Dr. Portia Jackson for being here with us. And I'm going to give you the opportunity, Dr. Portia, to talk to us a little bit about the program OBO, did I say Office of Business Opportunity within City of Houston. So Dr. Portia, welcome.
Thanks, Pablo, and hello, everybody. It's good to see some faces. So the office, hey, Freddie. Okay, so the Office of Business Opportunity at the City of Houston, we are an advocate for our small businesses. So we have 4 major facets that we do. Certification, yes, we are the certifying agency for the City of Houston. We certify in minority, woman-owned, small business, persons with disabilities, disadvantaged business enterprise, airport concessions business enterprise, disadvantaged business enterprise, as well as we can submit your information for you to get Hub. And we also recently, as of this year, recognize the LGBTBE certification in our directory. So we are here to make sure that our certified firms are getting a piece of the pie, a slice of the pie, however you want to say it. And we also have our contracts compliance division, which ensures that all of the goals, any contracts with the City of Houston that have goals on it, are being followed and in compliance with that particular contract. And then we have our business development side and our OBO Solutions Center. So for folks who are starting off or maybe transitioning, have questions about permitting or connecting with resources, whether it's mentorship or anything like that, our OBO Solutions Center is there to help and support. And then we have our business development. So we have our programming that helps you to fine tune the resources and fine tune the knowledge and the skills that you learn. So we have our staples in our programming, and we also have our ad hoc programs based on what's happening right now for our businesses to get in contact with. And so when we're talking about doing business with the City of Houston, you want me to go ahead and go into that, or you want me to stop?
Yes, go right ahead, Dr. Brown.
Okay. And so with the City of Houston, 2 things you have to do. One is make sure that you are a city certified vendor. It's a really easy process. You want to go to purchasing.houstontx.gov, and I'll also put that in the chat so you'll have it. You want to make sure that you register to be a city vendor, because anyone who wants to do business with the city, whether you are certified or not, you do not have to be certified to do business with the City of Houston, but you do have to be a city certified vendor. And it's just a process of filling out a vendor profile, uploading a W-9, and picking out your NIGP codes. And it's really important that you complete that and pick out the codes. I always tell people, for instance, if you're in lawn care, just don't select the code that says mowing, right? put down everything that you do, because based on the NIGP codes that you put down, that's how you're going to be notified of upcoming opportunities. So our women in construction, if you do more than concrete or something else, make sure that you're putting all the codes there, because you don't want to limit your opportunities. Also with that, take advantage of the certification, because that is your leverage. That gets your foot into the door in operating and performing on larger contracts. That is your key to help you to start building capacity. That is your key to networking with these major prime contractors, understanding how they are doing business with the government, and building those relationships so that you can get in that field and get in there and graduate to be a prime contractor, because that's our goal. We want to see more of our marginalized communities holding prime contracting roles with the city of Houston, and certification is the role to that, is that door opener. And I'll also put that information, that link, into the chat. And I am here always to be a resource and a support. So if you need help and you have a question about certification, or you have a question about who do I contact within the city of Houston, because we have about 22,000 employees in a bunch of departments. So it's really hard to figure out who to talk to. And so I can definitely help you to kind of navigate that process and to do that. And just so I know we were talking to women in construction. And so for the fiscal year of 2021, I don't have the numbers for the entire fiscal year of 2021. We just finished it, but through March 31st for construction, over 206 million went to certified firms. So there's definitely opportunities with the city of Houston there. And in last year, fiscal 2020, over $760 million went to certified firms. So definitely want to make sure that you all are certified so that you can take advantage of those opportunities that are there.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Portia. That's a great information. And you know, one of the things that I also want to mention, because I know City of Houston has the port, they have ongoing training program. Dr. Portia, is that something that they could still have access to in person, or because of COVID, is that something that is being done virtually?
Right now, all of our programming is virtually. Hopefully we'll be able to get into person, but I can tell you now, our program, we have a program that possibly our Turner School of Construction Management that we do in conjunction with Turner Construction Company is supposed to be in person, but because of what's happened recently, will be virtual for right now and hopefully to get in person. But I can tell you our Meet the Buyer Procurement Forum, which is where you want to be to get in front of the buyers for the City of Houston buyers, as well as other government agencies. And it's going to be December 2nd, and that will be a hybrid event. You can come in person and you can come in virtually, whatever you feel comfortable with. So we're looking that's going to be our first event that we roll out fully, where we have folks in person.
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much for that great information. One of the things that we were talking about is any questions. This is a great point before we transition onto the second segment. And I still want City of Houston, Port, and also Harris County to hang in there with us, because with LiftFund, we're going to ask a couple of questions that we have that we want to touch upon, some of the issues that we want to talk about also. But before we do that, before we go into that second phase, is there anyone that has any questions, any concerns? I see Freddie's thinking a lot. Freddie, is there anything in your mind? Just speak your mind now.
No, I'm just enjoying listening to the presentation and just soaking it all in.
Fantastic. Anyone else? Anyone else has any questions, any concerns? Again, we're going to make the presentations that have been provided. We're going to make that available. We're going to make available Jose's one-sheeter also. And again, we're also going to be sharing this information. We're going to edit it a little bit and then share it out there within our network. So having said that, let's move into the second phase, and that's where we're going to have Tandeling. Hopefully I pronounced it correctly. No, okay, help me out.
Tondelen, like
Oh,
Pablo.
Tondelen, okay.
Tondelen, yes.
Tondelen. Okay, you
Yes.
see, you have to excuse me. I still have that New York accent. I haven't
It's
lost
quite
it.
okay.
Tondelen. Tondelen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Whoever
perfect, perfect.
Tondelen's name at the end is going to win a prize. Okay. And then of course we have Mishi with LiftFund. And one of the things that we want to talk about is the state of construction. What is the state of construction here locally in Houston? What has been some of the challenges for minorities in general, for women? And there's a lot of stuff that we spoke about off prior to coming on to this summit. So what I want to do is let's start with Mishi, and let's talk a little bit about the state of construction. We mentioned a lot of great things about the opportunities, but like Jorge mentioned, why is it that there's a lot of qualified minorities and women in the industry, but yet we don't see them participating? So let's start with that conversation.
I think Jorge was kind of living in my brain, right? Because I think he hit the nail on the head. A lot of it is, intimidation. There's a lot of opportunities out there, but where do we start, right? So I think that, Dr. Portia has a program, LiftFund has a program that really kind of whittles down that big elephant that you're trying to bite out and really kind of, puts it in bite-sized chunks. So what that means really for women in construction, for small businesses, is where do you start? So the first step really is the management education. So often, small businesses, women are working in the business, not on the business. So they're not really developing the business acumen that they need to get the tools that they need, like financial tools, digital marketing, how to read blueprints, as Tondelen mentioned, how to respond to RFPs. All of the management education is something that I believe goes on the back burner while they're trying to just earn a living, put food on the table, pay their employees. And so I think once they really get intentional, and once we get really intentional about teaching them, and to Jorge's point, empowering them with the knowledge that, yes, you can do this. Yes, you can stand shoulder to shoulder in a male-dominated industry. Yes, you have all the tools that you need to work in your business. You understand your financials. You understand how to do projections. You understand which project you say yes to, can say no to. Then they're empowered, right, to step into this industry with confidence.
Let me add to Mishi, that was a good foundation statement. So then what happens in the marketplace when they don't understand their financials? First of all, margins are very thin in construction. They're thinner than a lot of other industries. So you may have for instance, someone who is not informed about their financial statements, not understanding cash flow, maybe not having a line of credit on the side with their lending institution to help them navigate those very tight situations. Sometimes folks don't know how to bid properly and have taken into account all of the factors and put in some room for those factors you don't even know might happen. So not understanding your financials and how to bid properly can lead a particular contractor into a very dire state, where all of a sudden they're at a point and not being able to finance to the end of the project. There's this thought that, oh, if I bid low, I'll win. And the lowest bid might win, but it may not be the best way to survive. So Mishi is right. Part of what we're doing and the city is doing and other educational programs are trying to help lift up the ability to understand your financial situation. One of the other things that we do, Mishi, is to help with the credit score. That then allows you, we call it credit score monitoring. And so for those who have low credit scores when they come into our program, then we have a group that will work with them to elevate those scores so they then become bankable and can come to a place like LiftFund and eventually go to a place like Chase or Bank of America to get financing. So that's one of the major entities as a major challenges, is understanding the financial situation and not bidding too low, which will impact you sometimes negatively in the future.
Oh, great. That is an awesome topic. And then just talking about the credit, the business credit, personal credit, let's go right into one of the challenges that I hear a lot of minorities, a lot of women contractors, and small contractors in general, that they always have challenges with payment. And I think Pedro Gonzalez mentioned, he touched that subject. They say, well, I don't want to work for the government because the government is going to pay me in 60, 90 days, sometimes 120. Talk to us a little bit about that challenge that you personally have seen with members that have gone to LiftFund for that help. What is happening there? What is your perspective? And then, of course, we're going to have the government entity perspective chime in and tell you from their perspective what's going on.
I think it's a real issue. So yeah, it's not a perception. It is real. And so what we do quite often when we have, we call them ascenders. When we have our ascenders that speak to us about the projects, we first look at if it's a private project or a public project, because those have different, those that have different payment terms. We look at capacity. And so we talk a lot when we talk about the 5 C's of credit, right? Or one of them is credit, but one of them is capacity. Do you have the capacity to take on these projects that you're saying yes to, as Tondalyn mentioned? So payment terms are really, really important. Looking at can you cash flow this project is really important. Other things like, is bonding something that you're going to need to consider? All of those things kind of go into the payments, and not looking at just how much you're going to get for the project, right? But really understanding all of the interesting nuances in those projects. So what we do first, really with all of our centers, is we really kind of find out, which lane do you want to live in? Do you want to be in residential construction? Do you want to be in commercial construction? Because they both have very different payment terms as well. And then again, do you want to be in the private sector or the public sector? So we always really do a very good job of, first of all, finding out which lane they want to operate in, which environment they want to operate in. Sometimes it's hybrid, but we really have to have that conversation at the beginning, so then we set realistic expectations for them.
Right. And Mishi just mentioned a little bit about it. Bonding is also just as a standalone issue. Bonding, qualifying to be bonded for a project, no matter if they're good. And I think, Jorge, you just mentioned you have excellent providers of a service, excellent plumbers, electricians, painters, whatever the case may be. But if you cannot bond on a public project, then it's it kicks you out. And so I wonder, and it is very, I'm so happy to work with small businesses. It pains me when they can be very good, they can show up on time, the quality is excellent, but then you don't have the ability to bond, which then finances are so critical, which gets back to the ability to have enough money to buy the bond, the credit score to qualify for the bond. And so that's one of the major challenges, I think, in the industry, whether it's in Houston or across the country.
But I think from the real perspective is also that we need to teach them how do alliances, because they don't want to do it. So we need to teach them a lot of things. How set up an alliance, okay, I do this, you do this, you are good in finance, so you cover the bond and I cover you in this. So we try to teach them a lot how be part of the business, because nobody has all the requirements. Sometimes they don't have the requirements that you are asking for, but other people have it. And then it's also work as a team. So we have this boot camp we are teaching these things to them. And we have 4,000 people attending. So
Wow.
that means that something is missing. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's in Houston, Latinos, we are the 44% of the population. So that means that we're supposed to be 44% of the contracts. And even in the construction, that we are 67% of the part of the business, at least be 44. And that's not happening. And the Latino woman's supposed it's 50% of the population, so it's 22% of the contracts.
Mhm.
That is not real.
Yeah.
So they are the intention that happens. But we need to reach what is going on for the whole thing, the whole picture. It's not about the contracts. They know how to do the contracts, but they don't know how to estimate. They don't know how to organize. You can give them $40,000 and they change the truck because they believe that they need a nice truck to do the job. So there are a lot of topics that we believe that all this power that we have in this meeting, and I'm really grateful with all of you, with Pablo, but we need to think about how we can bring those skills to our people. If also the entities, if they have good people doing the contracts, they also save money. They also save problems, you know, a lot of these things. So for me, it's easier to teach them something because they had 20 years learning about the construction, how to do it. They know, they had more expertise in the real things, but they don't know other things that are important. Sometimes it's cultural.
Yeah.
So that's my call. This is why I love to work with you all guys. I think that everything that you're doing is great. But those other topics, it's important to find out how to bring to them, you know.
Right. One of the things that, and I want to share this because, you know, I'm living this from the government perspective, the contracting perspective, and to the point that Jorge is talking about. It's about how we go about in educating these individuals. First and foremost, I mean, it's very clear from all three entities: City of Houston, Port of Houston, even Jose Medrano with Harris County said, we do not have to have qualified, certified vendors to do business with government. We do have to be certified vendors. Now, being a certified vendor and being certified is two totally different things. And one of the things that I always talk about there's three major things that we need when it comes to being certified a vendor. I'll speak from the Metro perspective. We want to make sure you have an entity, a legal entity established, be a DBA, and that's another issue we'll talk about. A DBA, an LLC, an incorporation. That I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to provide any legal advice on anything. This is no legal advice. This is just my own personal opinion. This is not Metro speaking. This is Pablo speaking because I don't want to get myself in trouble. But you always have to put that disclaimer, right, Dr. Portia? Just in case. But the main thing is legal entity. You have to have the insurance requirements, the protections. For Metro, I know for the small projects, I know sometimes it's a little bit high because we require 1 million, 2 million insurance aggregate. So it's a little bit high. We also require workers' comp, and we also require commercial liability, vehicle commercial liability. A lot of these contractors tell me I don't have workers. Even if you don't have workers, we still require you to have workers' comp. And that is the minimum requirement and of course, upload your W-9. I think Jose Medrano mentioned, or Pedro, and of course your COI, your certificate of insurance, and then you could get a vendor number. And of course, each entity would make sure and check that everything is great. Now, that is step number one. Even if you want to do a PO, a purchase order that is $49,999.99, like Medrano mentioned, you need that. And now, if I could tell you from experience, I mean, we've reached out to our community, and you know, we had a session of about, and I always tell this story, about 65 people, great qualified vendors that could do their work, because I've seen these individuals, but out of the 60, almost maybe 5 probably met that vendor qualification because they did not have their legal entity established, or they did not have the adequate insurance. Some of them had insurance, but most of them have $500,000. Those that think they have a high insurance have $500,000. Some of them only have 100 to 200. And for some of the jobs that they do is sufficient. But working for the government, there's a lot more requirements. So that's the basis. I mean, we have to have those fundamentals. Jorge is an engineer, Pedro is an engineer, and we could all understand that, in order for us to be able to build up that building, we have to have a firm foundation. Again, with your business, that's the firm foundation you have to have. If you can't have that, forget about going. There's my New York accent. Forget about it. Forget about going into the major 1.2 million, $10 million projects. You can't. I mean, you first have to have multiple of these small contractors, vendors, certified vendors meet those 3 major requirements. And like Jorge said, which he brings a great and awesome point, and he's been doing a lot of great work educating the community. Bring them to that point, and then bring them to that alliance. Now, having said all that, let's talk a little bit about bonding. Bonding is an issue that we've spoken about. A lot of people do not know, what is bonding? Why do we require bonding? So I'll give LiftFund the opportunity to talk a little bit about this.
Well, actually, Donaldin, if you wanted to continue, or I wanted to actually hear from the public entities as well.
So,
Why it's so important, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm not going to claim to be a surety company, but bonding does protect the vendor from any errors that may occur, so that if the owner, like let's just say if the city of Houston wanted to have a school built or whatever, and there is a problem, then the bonding and you have been identified as the construction contractor who created the problem, then the bond will protect you. But it is very tough to qualify for that, to qualify for the bond. And that is what keeps folks back. Now, Mishi has heard me say this before. I wish there were an opportunity to disrupt the bonding market and create something new. I don't know what that is. I'm just putting it out there. I read something on an airplane a few years ago that in the West Coast, I don't know, Northern California, they were innovating a product to provide bonding so that the small contractor can get access to this funds. It was, I don't know, it was just a small article, so I don't know exactly the details, but I can only imagine that maybe they asked all of the primes to put a few dollars into a pot and then allow the small contractor to get its first bond. You just need to get the first step, and then you build upon that. So that's all that I can say. Is just right now it's a vision. I probably have burned Mishi's ear off every week. Can't we figure out a way to get a better product for these guys and ladies? I don't mean just.
And you bring a great point, and I want to talk a little bit about that. But first, I want to give Dr. Portia and also Jose Medrano an opportunity to talk a little bit about what is that requirement, specific requirement to be a qualified. Did I hear qualified vendor? Is that how we call it? Dr. Portia, if you could share with us, what does it take for a small contractor, minority or women contractor, to become a certified vendor?
Really, for it to be a vendor with the city of Houston, it's a simple process. And it's just really uploading that W-9 form and completing that information, which is basic information, company name, owner, and those NIGP codes. And so that's going to be your main thing to be a city vendor. As far as the specifics that goes along with it, that's going to come when you go to actually bid for the particular opportunity. Then that's when they're going to come out and ask you, we need this much for bonding, we need this much for insurance, we need this and that. So that will vary based on the opportunity that you're going for. But to be a city vendor is really just a matter of just putting out down the basic information.
Awesome, great, thank you for sharing that. Jose, if you could share with us Those
Yeah, it's exactly pretty much the same process with Harris County. Just to expand a little bit more on what we require. It's the same thing with the city of Houston with Porsche. You know, you need your general liability, workman's comp, and your automobile business insurance to go with it. Now, if you're a sub, the general contractor usually has all that, but you still are required to have those things anyways. And, you know, do you need a bond? It depends on the project itself. So if you're selling pins or whatever, you don't need a bond, right? If you're going to do some construction work because, you know, the city's going to be on the hook for this project that they've already done everything, then you're going to be required a bond. So I'm an insurance agent. You know, for the last 20 years, I've been an insurance agent. Just to expand a little bit more on the bond stuff. The bond is like going to the bank and getting a loan. You know, we have to go to a surety bond place, and we're going to ask you for your financial records. And then we serve as the mortgage broker, basically, which is not what I want to do because I'm an insurance agent. So not many people do bonds, but, you know, you can actually go online and do some on your own. But the more, you know, anything that's a lot more, then you do need to go to through an agent or a bond company. But the biggest thing that you need, guys, I tell every business owner this, is get your QuickBooks in order, you know, keep it up to date, file your taxes. You know, as a business advisor that I was for, you know, 20 years, everybody does really well when they start a business on their own. The first year, second year, and third year, they get hit with tax issues. So you're gonna get a call from the IRS because you didn't pay yourself taxes, and then you're gonna get, you know, some money that's gonna get drawn out. So now you got to pay taxes for year 1, 2, and 3, and you got to pay on 4. So it's already, you know, what do you have much to live on after that? So again, like I said, you know, pay yourself, get a payroll system called Paychecks or whatever. You know, I'm happy to refer you guys to somebody else, but if you start a business, just make sure you put yourself on payroll, on yourself on payroll, and don't just draw from the business itself.
Fantastic, thank you. Pedro, if you could share some light, if you will, on this subject, how to become a qualified or certified vendor with the port?
Okay, Pablo, it's pretty easy. I would encourage anybody who wants to do work with the port, don't be a prime contractor. You know, I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but don't be a prime contractor, because with a prime contractor, you're on the hook with the contract with the owner. Okay, the bid bond, the performance bond, the payment bond, the insurance requirements. The prime contractor is responsible for that. So what I always tell small businesses that I like all the small businesses, because, you know, the U.S. economy is built on small businesses. They really are. Okay. And shame on the prime contractors, the large contractors that take advantage of those small businesses, because they do. You know, they hold their money and they charge them for ridiculous stuff like, you know, you're making my plumber work twice as much, or my roofer had to come back. I mean, it's just incredible. But if, you know, a lot of prime contractors know the qualifications of the small businesses and the minority women, the tradesmen. But I always tell those small businesses, you know, don't worry about the bond right now or the insurances. If you have a question about a prime contractor, you know, his history, his payment history, his history with subcontractors, vendors, material suppliers, call me. I can't put anything in writing, but I will be honest with you, and I'll tell you if they've had issues before. And so I always try to steer them in the right direction. And a lot of times, Pablo, you know, when you have to make payroll and you have to pay your taxes and you have to feed the family, you get in bed with the wrong contractors. And you know, let's all be honest, there's very little that we can do with subcontractors if they get in trouble. You know, there's very little, because our contract is with the prime. And we tell them, and I hate telling them this, but we tell them, well, you need to claim on their bonding company. Well, you know, they don't have money to pay an attorney to go do a claim. So a lot of times they just walk away, and the prime knows it. and they just accept the money from the sub, and then they just, I mean, it's a lot of times they renegotiate the contract after the fact, and the poor subs get beat up. So definitely all of us need to look out for the small businesses and steer them in the right direction with the right prime contractors, because there are 90% of them are good prime contractors. The McCarthy, Orion, I mean, there's a plethora of really good prime contractors out there, and we just have to steer them in the right direction. But I always tell the small businesses, come in as a sub. See if you like how the port operates, their inspection, the requirements, their security. You may have to get a security license to work down in our restricted areas. But kind of test the waters at the ports, just like Metro in the city and Harris County. And, if you see that we treat the primes good and the primes treat the subs good, and we're not over inspecting like their competitors say we do, that we over inspect there at the port. If you do like the entity, then definitely work towards being a grown-up one day and being a prime contractor, but don't be in a hurry to be a prime contractor, because like Tandalin was saying, you can really get yourself hurt if you don't estimate the jobs right, if you don't do your homework, if you don't look at the previous history. Everything, we're a public entity, just like Precinct 2. Open records requests, we don't hold that against you. If you want to do your homework, we commend you on doing your homework, and we'll give you open records requests left and right, up and down, until you're comfortable. You can see what the margin has been, you can see what the prices have been. And if you want to be a prime contractor after you've done your homework, we welcome you there at the port. We don't hold that against you just because you don't have any prior port history. But we do hold your feet to the fire on the requirements. If we ask for 12 inches of concrete pavement, we can't let 13 inches slide or 12 inches slides, or maybe a number 3 bar for a driveway be used for a number 8 bar. So just know that we are going to require the contract requirements. So we won't give on that. That's one thing.
That is awesome. Thank you, Pedro. Thank you for sharing that with us. Now, let's go back and we're going to be wrapping this up. I mean, this is a lot of great information. We could be here all night with all this great information, but this is a good starting point. This is a good starting point because, I mean, look at the information we have, the entities we have here. We have the Port of Houston, we have City of Houston, we have LiftFund, we have Metro, Harris County. I mean, this is incredible. The information that we provided, and the common thing that I keep hearing is, it's not something difficult. It's not difficult. And I just saw the comments, those that are going to be looking at this information that is already being pre-recorded. There's some information provided in the chat box, and I know City of Houston, Dr. Portia had provided a link to certification overview. Now, one of the things that I've seen what City of Houston has done, they've put out a YouTube video of how to do their certification. Believe it or not, I took the time to look at that video, and I would imagine that video would have millions of views. Not too many people are looking at this information. We're putting this information out there for public consumption. Like Pedro says, I mean, it's a public agency. All this information is available. But, I've heard that you could bring the horse to drink the water, but you cannot make them drink. So, we have to learn. I mean, we have to continuously provide and let them know the water is there. And if they're thirsty enough, they could come and drink. Last comments from LiftFund, because I know LiftFund has X in Houston, right? Let's talk a little bit about that and share a little bit more information about the program, how they could get started. I know the Chamber, Harris County and Port are collaborating along with the City of Houston with this great program. Just share a little bit more about that program and how people could take advantage of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Tondalin, please keep me honest. So Ascend Houston is a national program. It's specifically for minorities and women-owned businesses. It was started back in February. So we had our first cohort in February. So we're only in the construction industry, and we really focus on 3 pillars. One is giving these minority and women-owned businesses access to management education. So we've already talked about that. The second one is giving them access to market opportunities. The third is giving them access to money. And really that model can really kind of go with any industry. I think it's very transferable in terms of any industry, but for the construction industry in particular, Ascend Houston provides management education to include construction management, project management, financial management, certification. And then after this 18-week program, then we move to, are you ready to actually respond to an RFP and actually have some type of contract with the market access partner? So our market access partners include the City of Houston, the county, both public and private market access partners. So we give them access to actual real contracts that they can actually bid on and be awarded. And then last, in terms of the money, we provide two credit facilities. One is a line of credit up to $200,000, and one is a term loan up to $50,000. So the term loan is for working capital, hiring additional people, buying equipment, buying materials, and then the line of credit is so they can take on incremental projects. And I wanted to just really quickly go back to something that Jorge said. There's a lot of resources out there, but Jorge really highlighted the power of teaming and actually leveraging resources. So that is what Ascend Houston does extremely, extremely well. It's not an accelerator where you go through, this 2-year program and then, God bless, go out there and be successful. We wrap our arms around them. We create an ecosystem they can leverage. So we leverage with partners like SBDC that provides business advising for them. We leverage with the Bridge Path that provides credit mentoring, that moves their score into a range, like Tondalin said, where they can be bankable. We leverage with Silver Linings, which is a program that really deals with the psyche of a small business where, okay, you want to hit these milestones. What are you doing on a daily basis to make sure that you're accountable for your success? And then also we leverage with money partners, like other traditional banking partners, that once they outgrow LiftFund and they outgrow the $200,000 line of credit, they can move on to larger lines of credit so they can take on, again, larger projects. And then because it's a cohort, we have 40 construction companies right now who team. So some of the smaller contracts, really rely on some of the larger than contractors for larger opportunities, and they team. So you have a concrete person and a framer and a welder and an electrician taking on some of these larger projects. And what we found during the pandemic is no one really lost revenue. They actually gained revenue during the pandemic because they were able to team and actually make it work and survive this last 18 or 20 months.
That is fantastic. That is awesome. It's great to hear. And, we could go on and have a lot of these discussions, but, we are coming to the end, and we want to be respectful of everyone's time. And so what we want to do is we're going to conclude here. And I personally just want to thank each and every one of you. Tondalin, did I say that right? All right. You see, it took me a while. Thank you.
You get an A. You get an A.
There we go. For being here, Mishi. LiftFund has always been a organization that has been out there collaborating. I've seen a lot of collaborative effort with your organization, with different other local government entities and other organizations. So we want to thank you for the opportunity, for the time to be here and share that great information with us. Dr. Portia, thank you with City of Houston. Thank you for taking the time to share this great information with us. Thank you to Jose Medrano. I mean, we're continuously collaborating, working, and it's been an awesome experience because, it's great to know that, we're not alone. We're not, even though we might be a separate organization, government entity, we're all here to collaborate, and we're all here to empower our small businesses, because, you know, it all's going to foster our local economy. They say that small businesses are indeed the backbone of our economy. And, you know, we're not going to be working on a silo. We're not going to be working independently. We all need to collaborate. And Jose Medrano has been a great example of that collaboration. You know, Harris County with Metro, with Port, it's been phenomenal. So Pedro Gonzalez, remember that. Great things, comments to Pedro Gonzalez. Any complaints? Pedro Garcia. Pedro, we just want to thank you for your time, and always, you know, in the 14 years that I've had the great pleasure of knowing you and seeing a lot of your presentations. Your presentations have always been a wealth of information. I mean, I see the passion you have for both helping small businesses and combined with your technical expertise. I mean, that is a phenomenal combination and a great asset to Port and also to the community, to the small business community. And now you have your own, Port has their own program, which is awesome. One of the things that I want to commend the Port is, you mentioned that even before they had an implemented program, they were already exceeding that goals that we have. We have a 35% goal. And as Pedro mentioned, they have been exceeding that number. And now, of course, with the program in place, I'm pretty sure they're going to supersede that goal as well. So Pedro, thank you for that. And I also want to thank Cámara de Empresarios Latinos with Adriana. Adriana has been back and forth filming, as you know, she's collaborating with us. She's been a great asset to our community, to our Latino community. It is amazing what Adriana does. You know, I've had the great pleasure of knowing Adriana, not only as my neighbor, but we've collaborated with the chamber. Well, she continues doing a lot of great things with the community. I also want to thank Freddie Georges for helping us, for collaborating with his organization. And I know Freddie is in the process of working with the city. I think you're working with the city, right?
With Dr. Portia Jackson. Yes, sir.
There we go. That is awesome. That is awesome. That's what it's all about. It's a collaborative effort. The more outreach we have, the greater that information is going to get out there. So Freddie, thank you for all that collaboration, for all that time that you take to be with us. Crowd, you've heard the application. Make sure you download that application. It's a mind-blowing, like Pedro said, I'm not good with technology, but the little that I learned with these applications and the power of how you could connect virtually with this application is incredible. I'll just share a quick story, Roland. I remember I RSVP through this app. Notice I'm not a tech savvy person, so I RSVP through the app, and I was unable to make it because I think I went on vacation. But through the app, I was able to connect with some people, because before the event or after the event, you could still connect with those people. So even though I did not attend the event, I was still able to connect with some people. So I was like, whoa, I said, Roland, this is pretty good. I don't quite understand it much, but I know I could connect with people even if I don't go to the event. So that is a great testimony that I have. And I'm like so excited because I love connecting people and networking.
I appreciate it, Pablo. I just wanted to also mention it kills me to see everybody putting their information here on the chat, which I get it, right? That's how we have to do it. But, you know, on the InCrowd app, another thing that we can do is share business cards. So there's some of my friends that have InCrowd that weren't able to make this, and I'm trying to connect them with some of you. So I'm taking pictures and I'm, screenshotting, and I'm like, if we were all on InCrowd and we were all connected, I could swipe and share your business card with those other people and make those connections as well. So, I know that's how we have to do it right now, but we're gonna do a better job of getting some marketing material out there and educating everybody on the app, because
roll it and tell them it's free, because whenever 100%. I see free, I'm all in. It's free. Yeah. No 100%. Credit needed. Now, if you need to invest in the app, then we have LiftFund that could provide you with, if you could dream it, LiftFund could provide the money, right? So no, we really appreciate it. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Pablo, for the platform, and thank you all.
No, thank you to all some of the contractors right here. Jorge, thank you so much for always being out there. He's always out there actively engaging with the construction community. Him being an engineer and a project manager himself, he understands all this, coming from the public sector, us coming from the a government entity, we also understand. So it's also good to understand both parts. So Jorge, thank you for all you do. Jose Orego, and you know, Estela, Luz, Raul, and Ada, you know, thank you for everyone for being here. We're gonna put this information out there so more people could get this information, because you know what? How many millions was that, Jose Medrano? That
Harris
the
County is 3.3 billion.
3.3
City of
billion. That was for the
Houston
B.
actually has a bigger budget. You guys are like at 4.5, I think.
Was
They do
that
sales tax.
was that a million, or you said a B?
Billion.
Me.
So there's a lot of contracting opportunities with the city, with the port. And again, you know, I think we're gonna end with this. If you could dream it, LiftFund could give you the money. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. And we'll continue having these gatherings. So thank you so much. And
Thank you,
again, we'll
Pablo.
edit this information and put it out there.
Thank you, Pablo.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Pablo.